So Jim, could you give us a brief description of what Gestalt actually is? I know that it's not a common word, and some people might not know what that means.
Yes, well, Gestalt, or is a way of thinking, is a way of seeing. Gestalt is to see the abstract in the reality, and that could be the difference between positive and negative. Sometimes the negative shape would be one object, and then you have to change the way you think to see the positive shape, which could actually be another object. There's a lot of good examples of that on the internet. Gestalt is the type of thing like this where that's not actually a heart, but you right away think of it a heart because it's in the shape of a heart. Another thing about Gestalt is if you put a dot on a piece of paper, it's a dot and your eye goes right to it. If you put two dots on a piece of paper, you have a line. And so that's not a real line, it's a Gestalt line, it's abstract. And you use those terms to compose your work. And if you add another dot, you have a triangle. And then that triangle has a direction, and then things grow and have more movement and are more complicated composition.
Okay. So I know that psychology and Gestalt are linked. I know it's used in psychology, but how would you say that the two come together?
Well, they use the images, Gestalt images, like the facing ink blots and that sort of thing, to analyze different patients, and everybody sees it differently. Like some people see a butterfly, some people see a tornado, you know, so you have positive, negative. So this is how they tell whether a person, or I don't think they can tell exactly how the person thinks, but they can kind of tell where they lean and where their abstraction is. You know, when do they start thinking abstractly, and how long does that take, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so it could be what a person's mindset is, possibly, or how they perceive the world around them.
Right.
Like that sort of dictates what they see and say an ink blot, like you were saying.
Yes, like for instance, somebody might see an ink blot with, and it looks like a butterfly to them, and then other people say, well, it looks like a bat, you know, so, you know, there's two different people, you know.
Right, exactly, because no two people think the same way.
Exactly, exactly, which is good, you know. So I don't know in depth how they use it in psychology as far as making a diagnosis, but I'm sure they use it wisely, and as artists use it primarily for working out compositional problems in whatever dimension they decide to work in, and so that's important. The direction of a triangle, if you add another triangle, then it creates another tension, you know. And then if you add another, then you have made a large triangle with three smaller triangles. So it's not real, it's not there, but it is. And we create that with our minds. Picasso took credit for the Gestalt in some of his paintings, and he said that when he first saw the camouflage tanks, that they stole his idea, that the camouflage was his idea, and which was a kind of a Gestalt thing where they make shapes and they make it from an aerial view, it looks like the Earth. So it's it was a valuable thing to use during the wars, and now everybody kind of wears camo too, and I'm always finding shapes in camo, so it's great. And sometimes if you have a creative mind, you can sit in your living room and look at the rug and find little animals in your carpet textures. You know, sometimes it gets a little crazy, you know, but it's fun. It's fun, and it's to be able to see things in the abstract is a good trait to have, especially as an artist.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. If you would like to see more of our content, click here or consider subscribing.